The Fear Zone channel, your channel of terror. Good evening everyone, and now we go to today's story, which is from Mr. Mario, and this happened to him in the city of Nova Odessa, which is in the state of Sao Paulo, and was in the year 2003, when Mr. Mario was 21 years old. And today, I will tell you something unforgettable that I lived in my life, because the werewolf that I saw was doing his evil deeds in my town. And it all starts like this. I live in a village in the rural area, which is far from the city center. But a certain time of year, there was a corn harvest in my city, where several people came from all states and cities of Brazil to work in these plantations. But then the harvest season began, and a few months went by. But it was also the time for the June festival, and there was a big event in a place near my neighborhood, where several workers who harvested corn also came to have fun at this festival. The fact is, I went to this party with my cousin and his friend, and we three were having fun all night at this party. But not long after, my cousin got into a fight with a guy at this event, and my friend helped my cousin to beat up a lot this stranger, and I saw that they could kill this man. I stopped the fight, and after that we left, not to get more trouble. The next day, we went back to our normal lives, but I learned that the guy who was beaten by my cousin worked as a corn picker, and his face was all swollen and bruised. However, as soon as about 2 weeks passed, I was amazed by something that happened in my village, because my friend, who helped my cousin beat up the stranger at the party, was allegedly killed by a large animal on a dirt road near our neighborhood, and when he was returning from his work at night, an animal attacked him viciously, taking his life. After that, a month passed and my cousin told me that he saw an animal that was hiding in a vacant lot in front of his house, and he suspected that it could have been this beast that killed our friend on the road. Well, with all this story, the people in my neighborhood were afraid to go out during the day or at night in the village because of this beast. The fact is, the police and the fire department stayed a few days after this animal that killed my friend, but the military and the fire department found nothing. But to my surprise, what I learned in this search for the beast is that the corn picker that we fought about at the party, the police had taken him to the police station because they caught him walking through the woods at dawn, and that he was suspected of taking clothes from the clotheslines of the houses. Well, after a while, the harvest season was over, and the harvesters had already returned to their towns, and my cousin was still scared of the beast that he had seen the other day in the bush, but he told me that he had not seen this animal again, and my cousin also said that this beast was not a normal animal, because he had a glow in his eyes that was scary for anyone, and his appearance was like a monkey and dog mixed together. I got a little pensive in this story, if this creature had something to do with my friend, who died attacked by a strange animal. Well, almost 6 months passed, and the corn harvest started again in my town, and with it the harvest workers, a few of them began to appear around my neighborhood. One night I was in a bar drinking, and soon I saw that the guy who fought with my friend and my cousin last year at the party, and this man was drinking at a table in the bar, and I noticed that sometimes this guy looked at me in a strange way, as if he already knew me from somewhere. Anyway, when it was already dark, the bar closed, and my cousin and I left together to our homes, and started walking through some dirt roads in our neighborhood. However, when we arrived at my house, my cousin took another street and was walking alone through the dirt road to his residence. I soon opened my gate, but suddenly I heard someone running down the street, and it was my cousin. He was running away from something, and then a creature came running after my cousin down the street, and it was a weird big animal, but luckily for him, I opened my gate quickly, and my cousin managed to escape by entering my house, and I quickly closed my gate, and just as I was about to pass the chains to lock my gate, surprisingly, that beast arrived in front of the house running, and soon This being already stood up and stood on two legs, even standing, like a person, and to my surprise, this creature began to pull my gate with his hands to open it, and this beast growled of rage at me, trying to intimidate me, and he swung my gate with great fury, and I also held the gate for the creature not to enter the house. But soon my cousin appeared holding a wooden handle, and gave several strokes in the hands of the creature, in which the beast released his hands from my gate. At that moment this monster began to roll on the ground and growled in pain, and it was scary the noises that this werewolf made. But then, this beast got up, and ran on foot down the street growling with noises of suffering, and it went into the woods and disappeared. At this, I took advantage and closed my gate quickly with the chains and padlock. My cousin and I entered my house, and we watched to see if the creature was around, but we saw nothing. I took a machete to defend myself, in case the creature decided to come back and try to enter my residence, and my cousin was even more afraid, because I didn't have a firearm at home. My cousin told me that it was this beast that had appeared in front of his house last year, and that maybe it was this werewolf that killed our friend on the road as well. In all this conversation, time went by, and I came to the conclusion that this animal was a werewolf. For this creature stood upright, and his body was like a man's from the waist up, but his legs were a little crooked back, like an animal's, and his head was like a dog's, with big pointed ears, and although his face looked like a man's, this werewolf had a mouth like a dog's, and with the dark hair on his body this beast had a macabre and scary appearance. Anyway, we stayed up all night, and the werewolf did not appear, but also this creature took a blow to his hands with the wooden handle when he tried to open the gate, and this werewolf must have been very injured. And I, and my cousin, did not understand what was happening, that this beast was trying to catch us, because it was the second time that my cousin saw this beast. Well, the fact is, the day dawned, I went to work normally, and so when it was time for lunch, I went to the pharmacy to buy medicine for a headache, because I had not slept well, because the werewolf had disturbed my sleep. But to my surprise, when I arrived at the door of the pharmacy, that corn picker who had fought with my cousin, and he was making a huge bandage on his two hands, with the help of the pharmacist, and it seemed to be a serious injury. However, this man saw me there on the counter, and this stranger disguised himself quickly, and got a scared look on his face as if he owed me something, and I realized this, because he was quite amazed to see me. But then, it hit me, because I immediately thought that he was the suspect of being the werewolf that attacked us at dawn, because of the bandages on his hands, which is where my cousin hurt the werewolf, and I also thought that he was getting back at our friend, because he got beaten at the party, and tried to get my cousin for helping to beat him. This suspect quickly left the pharmacy and disappeared down the street. Then I warned my cousin about the situation and the danger we were in. We soon started to patrol the town looking for the suspect, but we didn't see this man anywhere else. And the other days, we learned that he was away from his work, and the other workers said that this guy left town before the harvest season was over. But a few years have passed, and the werewolf no longer appeared in my neighborhood, but still, when it happens new harvests of corn in my town, I am worried that the guy who fought with my cousin back, and if he appears someday, I'll be very smart, because the werewolf can appear again too, and want to finish his revenge. Well folks, thanks for watching the video, and if you like it, subscribe to the channel to receive new werewolf stories. See you next time.